Now then guys, how you doing? Now Derby County, what an absolute shambles they're in at the minute. Now they are proper in the mud, and as of tonight they've just been deducted another 9 points. It's not looking good for them, I'm going to be honest. It's almost a certainty that they're going to get relegated this season. They've not done bad for the start of the season, however Mel Morris is an absolute shocker. So today's episode is all about rebuilding Derby. It's not necessarily about winning anything. It's obviously just trying to keep them, first of all, in the Championship and then getting them into the Premier League. So if you're new to the channel, obviously please like and subscribe. It would mean a lot. If you're a regular follower and subscriber, thank you very much for your support. As always, you know, I appreciate it massively. But for those of you that are new, I've got 5 years to keep the club going, to rebuild it from top to bottom, and hopefully, you know, keep the club status the same, if not better. So here we go then guys, day one at the club. And I think first of all, it's worth looking at that league position. As you can see, we've got minus 12 points on the board. Now, like I say, we've been deducted another 9 points. There's nothing I can do about that. You know, the 9-point deduction isn't going to be included in this one. However, starting off on minus 12 points, not ideal anyway. You know, we've got to get 4 wins just to get onto level terms. So, we're up against it from day one. Looking at the finances, we've got £0 to spend. I get 0% of revenue, and I'm currently bang on my wage budget, so I cannot spend a penny over. Overall balance, we're 2.9 million in the red as it stands, and we've made a profit and loss this month, so a loss of 65k. Now, looking at the debt and the loans, my net debt is £55 million. My transfer debt is £5 million. Now, loan-wise, my remaining debt is 26 million. So we're not in a very good place at all with my remaining debt being £46 million. We've got a lot to pay off there. So this season, I would expect to see next to nothing in the transfer window. We might see players go, but I'm not getting any money out of it, so it's just to try and balance the book. I'm not doing it to improve the squad. And realistically, any player that I let go is only going to make us weaker. As squad depth-wise, we're not in the worst position overall. You know, when we're looking at ability, we've got some decent players here. We've also got some high potential. Wages-wise, though, we've got some big earners. Tom Lawrence on 30k a week. Bailick on 20k a week. David Marshall, my goalkeeper, 36-year-old on 20k per week. My substitute goalkeeper, potentially, Kelly Roos, is 16k a week. There's some big contracts then. I should expect, you know, they were in the Championship, or they are in the Championship, so they're going to be on decent contracts anyway. Obviously, they're not going to be on £750 a week, like poor old Jordan Brown, or even better, Dylan Williams, £150 per week. Absolute scenes. We want all the players on that. But there's some big earners there that I may have to look at getting off the books, especially David Marshall. Not a bad goalkeeper, but I've already got 3 goalkeepers in the first squad. And, you know, while he's a full Scottish international, he was the hero that obviously got him to the Euros last year. But I just cannot see us keeping him. Obviously, if anybody wants to take him off the books. In the development centre, though, you know, it does look promising. Our main man, the number 1, is Isaac Hutchinson. Now, he can play in the midfield or out on that left-hand side. As an inverted winger, it looks like here. He doesn't look like a bad player. And the thing is, I'm going to integrate a lot of these youngsters into the first team. If anything, it'll add value to them. If they're getting involved in first-team games, naturally, they're only going to improve as well. So we've got Liam Thompson. Aaron Cashin looks quite decent defensively. English 19-year-old centre-back, heading, mark and tackling, all above 10. Strength as well, so if he can work on that, he's a decent prospect. And Bobby Duncan, wasn't Bobby Duncan at Liverpool? Wasn't this the guy that buggered off to Italy all kinds of sins? He did, yeah. He went from Manchester City for 200k, went to Fiorentina for 1.8 million, and we took him on a free transfer. Take that. He's not a great player, but these players will obviously get integrated into the first team. So looking at the squad dynamics then, naturally, it's not very good. On the plus side, managerial support is good. So the players do actually want me there. That is a great start. But club atmosphere, very poor. You know, you'd expect that with the financial position we're in. And team cohesion is average. So top influencers wise then, I have only got 6 players as supporters, 19 players that have no real opinion of us. But nobody opposes us. That's great. Curtis Davis, my vice captain, he's got to be cracking on now as well. 36-year-old. We're in trouble here for some of the age of these players. Tom Lawrence and Forsyth, my 3 team leaders. So looking at a tactic then, I'm probably going to play a 4-1-3-2 with an anchor man. I think we need to be defensively resolute this season. Yeah, it's no good going gung-ho. We're just not in a position to do it. And we've got to do something straight away. We've got to hit the ground running. Realistically, out of my first 5 games, I need to have around about 3 wins. If not, we're going to start to get left behind early doors. So I'm going to play a tactical style of tiki-taka on a positive mentality. And like I say, looking at our first 5 games this season, we've got Huddersfield, Peterborough, Hull, Middlesbrough and Nottingham Forest. A massive game there against Forest on the 28th of the 8th. So that's my first 5 games. Realistically, I need around about 9 points out of them to just get us in with a chance. Obviously, we're still going to be on -3 points. However, there will be teams around there that haven't won a game or only got a couple of points on the board. We just need to get ourselves out of that bottom 3 as it stands. So squad depth-wise, looking at the tactic the way we've got it, best player is Kazim Richards. He's currently injured, isn't he? He's out for 2 to 4 months. Fantastic. I have had a glance at this team and there's plenty of injuries around. Baldock up front as well, Tom Lawrence. I probably wouldn't have played him out there. They're saying to play him out on the left-hand side. Max Bird, Knight, Shinnie. In the centre of midfield, we seem to be sorted. And also in the anchorman position, we seem to look good as well. Midfielder right, again, an area that isn't the strongest. At the back, Jagielka there. What a boy, Jagielka, 38-year-old, playing at centre-back, got absolutely no pace at all. Out on the left and right-hand side, it's not great. But again, it's not the worst. And in goal, I've got 3 3-star goalkeepers, so we've got options there as well. Looking at the season preview then, we're 351 to win the league. We're going down. You know, the media think that we are going down. I've obviously got no players in the Media Dream 11, and there's some very good players in there as well. When we look at this team, the majority of it is from Bournemouth. That doesn't surprise us, but Mitrovic is there as well. Expect plenty of goals off this guy this season. What a player. Currently valued up to £15 million. He's only 26-year-old as well. Seems like he's been around forever. So yeah, the season expectations don't look good for us. So back to the schedule then, and we naturally need to start getting some money into the club. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to arrange plenty of friendlies to try and get us a little bit of income. Now, that's not really going to, push us into the black. However, we just need to generate a little bit of money, get a bit of cash flow going, let a couple of the players leave, bring some of the youth players in, and we'll see what it's done to the debt by the time the season starts. Right, so the start of season 1, and I would imagine somewhat unbelievably I've done nothing in the transfer window as far as incomings go. However, I've had no control over the players that leave. Now, all the decisions have been made by the creditors, and I've had some players go. Some players that I would like to have been involved in the first team. I've got 1 or 2 players off the books just to try and, bring in a bit of funds, but to try and help with that debt. But yeah, let's have a look at the outgoings. Right, so leaving the club then, we've had a total of 300k brought in. We did have Bobby Duncan leave. He went to Fulham for 250k up front, 350k with add-ons, so we've got 100k to come in extra. I am disappointed he's gone. He could have been a first-team regular, not this season though. And we brought him in on a free transfer to get that kind of money back when we need it. Let's be honest, we're desperate for the money. Let him go. David Marshall also went off to Hibs, so he's gone back north of the border. 36k up front. Again, add-ons taking it up to 76k. We got him on an undisclosed fee. Played 33 games last season. He'll have been the undisputed number 1, but to get his wages off the books is massive. And then we've just had loads of loans, so all the youngsters that I brought through, Isaac Hutchinson, Aaron Cashin was a player that I really wanted to stay with us. I wanted him to be one of my centre-back partnership, not throughout the season, but to feature on and off, and he's gone off on loan to Cambridge. Now, when we're speaking about the problems as far as the squad goes, the amount of players that leave us this season now, Phil Jagielka and Baldock are both with us until Christmas. That's it. They leave us on New Year's Eve. They'll disappear. So I'll be 2 players down straight away. But when you look at the amount of players that are going to leave us at the end of the season, and we've got some real good players in there, and there's nothing I can do to keep them because of the financial situation. So looking at Tom Lawrence, off a new contract, not interested, can't do anything with it. Who else? Kelly Roos, let's have a look. Can I keep him? No. So I've got a problem there where a lot of my team may just disappear. There will be 1 or 2 players on here. Obviously, I can trigger contract extensions. That's fine. I'll take that. I'll take whatever I can get at the minute. But it's not looking rosy, let's be honest. Now, obviously, we'd been in administration. Realistically, we're looking for new investors. We're looking for a takeover. And I am hoping that is going to happen. But financially, so far, we've currently got 83k in overall balance. We're into the black. Profit and loss, 493k lost this month. not ideal. Debt and loan wise though, we've taken almost £5 million off the debt, as we're now at £51 million in debt. Again, not ideal. I can put something in the transfer budget, you know. I can make an adjustment to the wages, and then I'll get almost £1 million transfer budget. It'd be absolutely ridiculous for me to start spending money now with the position that we're in, so I'm not going to. So this season is literally all about trying to survive. Seeing as though we can't really talk about any of the changes to the squad, let's have a look at the staff that we've got. So at this moment in time, I've only got 2 coaches out of a possible 7. I can't bring any coaches in. I can't offer any contracts. We've got 3 scouts, but I've got no director of football, no technical director, and I've only got 1 out of 3 recruitment analysts. But as far as my medical team goes, it is stacked, and I've got the best physiotherapy team in the championship. We're not far away, second best with sports science, so we're up there. But when you look at that coaching, we've actually got the worst people management team in the league. Not ideal. Not ideal, but we can work on that. Right, so having a look at the squad then, like I said, we're going to play that 4-1-3-2. And as a team selection, you know, I'm just going with what is available. So as it stands then, we're going to go with Roos in goal, Forsyth, Davies, Jagielka and Steeman at the back, with Bird in the anchorman role, Williams, Sibley and Joswiak out on the wide area, with Lawrence and Baldock up front. Now I have got, obviously, decent squad depth. We've got so many injuries and unregistered players. Obviously, all those unregistered players are out on loan. But yeah, we've got some lengthy injuries as well. Kazim Richards out for 4 weeks to 2 months. Nathan Burns, 7 days to 2 weeks. Jason Knight is out for 3 to 5 weeks. And then Bielik, one of my better players, is out for 3 to 5 months. So some big injuries there. So looking at the club vision then, what is the expectation this season? To fight bravely against relegation and to be competitive in the FA Cup and the Carabao Cup. We need whatever finances we can get. And my contract expires at the end of this season as well. So I've only got a 1-year contract, and that is all about me trying to stay in the league. This rebuild could be over in season 1. So with that in mind then, let's simulate forward to the end of season 1. First of all, see if we've survived relegation from the championship, and see if I've managed to keep my job. So season 1's done. First of all, I'm in a job. Second of all, we got an 8th place finish. Plus 23 goal difference, sir. 8th place. Can you believe that? Look at it in all its glory. We had a shocking end to the season though there. Lost 4 of our last 5. Wowzers. That's bad going. We played 46 games, won 22, drew 10, lost 14, 71 goal score, 48 conceded, plus 23 goal difference. That's not bad going, like I say. 64 points on the board. We finished a point behind Swansea in 7th place. Barnsley got promoted with West Brom and Bournemouth. Sheffield United still down there though. Worth seeing who got relegated as well. So Norwich, Crystal Palace and Brighton went down from the Premier League. So they'll be joining us next season in the Championship. Looking at the past positions then, you know, we've done really well. We won our first game 3-0 against Huddersfield. Then we won 2-1 against Peterborough. And then a 2-0 victory against Hull City, which basically in the following game, so in 4 games, we'd won all 4 games to get 12 points on the board from a possible 12. And we have climbed the table since. We ended up getting ourselves into 7th place on match day 33 with a 3-2 victory over Peterborough. But then, yeah, you can see form proper done us over towards the end. I will take that though. That is not a bad season considering the start that we've had. That's one mean feat. But then we look at the finances. Finances wise, here we go. So we've got £20 million in the overall balance, and there is a reason for that. So we have had a takeover. I didn't quite capture that in the news, but we have now restructured our debt. So you can see down here, the club has successfully negotiated the restructuring of all remaining debts. Our new financial position will ensure that we remain competitive in the future. So when we look at who is in charge, Phil Gardner, obviously fictional. He's now the chairperson of the club, and finances-wise, he's done us a solid. We've got £20 million in the overall balance, £5.5 million in transfer budget, but we only get 20% of available transfer revenue. That's worth remembering. And the wage budget, we get an extra 18k. So looking at the debt and loans then, our debt now, it's 140k. I'll take that. That's not bad going, is it? There is still a company voluntary agreement, which we've got 4.5 million to spend. And our chairperson, the guy that's just taken over, Phil Gardner, was it? Yeah. 10.5 million we owe him. Happy with that. Remaining debt then is 14.75 million. Not in a bad place at all. I'm absolutely buzzing with those finances. To have money to spend this season is huge. Looking at our performance in all competitions then, like I say, the Sky Bet Championship, we finished in 8th place. In the FA Cup, we were knocked out in the third round by West Brom. We were knocked out in the second round by Barnsley in the Carabao Cup. Like I say, Barnsley getting promoted to the Premier League. Squad dynamics wise and team cohesion is very good. Club atmosphere is very good. And managerial support is very good. Looking at the issues, we've got Ryan Alsop, who's asking to leave. That's me sub goalkeeper, I believe. He's leaving on a free transfer anyway. He doesn't want to stay with us. And Ravel Morrison wants a new deal. I think he leaves as well. So he's going to leave shortly. Looking at the top influencers then, I've got 23 players who support us. The entire team, the first time in any rebuild, the entire team supports us. Even the players that are unhappy are on my side. And then looking at the player stats wise then, so top goal scorer for us was Tom Lawrence with 17 goals. Highest average rating was Lawrence with a 7.14. Most assists was Louis Sibley with 13. Best pass completion was Curtis David with a 97%. Most player of the match awards was Lawrence with a 6. Most yellow cards, Sibley and Forsyth with 13 apiece. And Stretton and Shinny got 1 red card each. As far as the team stats go then, we played 46 games. We scored 71 goals, which is the 8th best. Goals conceded though, 48, 4th best, which I'm happy with. We got 115 yellow cards, which was the worst. So looking at players that are potentially going to leave us then, we still have got a fair few players gone. I have managed to tie some more players down, fortunately, with the funds being increased slightly. So Kazim Richards, Stearman, Davis, Alsop, Morrison, Shinny will all be leaving us as the season ends. Shinny played 19 times for us, 19 starts for us anyway. But at 30-year-old, I am trying to get rid of some of these players that are cracking on a bit now. When you have a look here, a quarter of our squad that is plus 30. So they're the players that I'll be trying to get moved on this summer. Like I say, a lot of them go in on a free transfer anyway. A couple of them there for another couple of seasons. Kelly Roos as well. Potentially want a better number 1 than him. So what we're going to do now then, guys, is move forward to the start of season 2, where I've actually got a rebuild to do. I've got a bit of funds to do that, and that is fantastic. And this season is all about that push for the Premier League place. Can you imagine the position that we've been in season 1 to be then pushing for promotion in season 2? Right then, guys, so season 2 transfer window has been a pretty decent one, if I'm completely honest. Obviously, we had a little bit of money to spend, and when we're looking at the transfers, we've let quite a few players leave. So Ryan Alsop was the first player to go. He was obviously our backup goalkeeper. We got him on a free transfer last season. Didn't play a game for us. Wasn't a bad goalkeeper. We let him go on a free transfer to Birmingham. Ravel Morrison went off to Walswick in Holland. So he played 34 times for us last season. 1 goal, 3 assists, 1 player of the match performance, a 6.77 rating. Didn't do anything wrong. His contract was quite high, his salary, so we've just let him go. Kelly Roos was the big out, so he's gone to Portsmouth and he generated us some cash. He went for a total of 1.3 million to Portsmouth in League One, played 46 times for us last season, conceded 48 times, did keep 14 clean sheets and had a very good rating at 7.12. But the goalkeeping option I had coming in was about the same as Roos as far as ability goes, so when a 1.3 million offer come in, I had to accept it. So coming in then, we brought in João Alfonso. Now, a guy that's just going to be a fringe player. We got him on a free transfer from Gil Vicente in the Portuguese Premier League last season, where he played 6 times. 6.5 rating, so like he didn't exactly set the world alight, and he's quite an average player. Current ability, 3.5 stars, playing to his full potential as well. Can play in that anchor man role. Isn't going to be a first choice, however, is a very good depth option. We then brought in Rodrigo Fernandez. He joined us from Porto's B team, and he joined them from Sporting. Played 26 times last season, 2 assists, a 6.83 rating. Again, he's a player that can play either as the anchor or as a central midfielder. Decent all-round player. Technically, he's not as gifted as some of the players we've got at the club. But 21-year-old, Portuguese, currently valued 750k. And like I say, we got him on a free transfer, so there's a bit of money to be made there should it not work out. We then sorted out our deputy goalkeeping option with Igor Vekic. So 24-year-old Slovenian, joined us from Hala Ferreira last season, where he played 13 games, 13 conceded, kept 4 clean sheets though, and he was playing in Portugal's top tier. He's not playing for Benfica, Sporting or Porto, so to keep 4 clean sheets and only concede 13 in 13 isn't bad going, but he's not my first choice option. He's decent goalkeeping attributes, but we have got somebody who's just slightly better. And that player is Freddie Woodman. So this guy's going to be my number 1. He wanted the number 14 shirt, bizarrely though, so we've given him that. We got him from Newcastle for 115k, where he played 11 times in the Premier League, conceded 18, a 6.56 rating, but I'm happy to get Woodman through the door. He's an Englishman, currently 25-year-old, so he's nowhere near his prime. His goalkeeping attributes are decent, his mentals are okay, his physicals are fine, and his current ability is 3.5 stars, his potential ability is 4.5 stars, and he's valued at 300k. Then we brought in another free transfer, a 24-year-old Spaniard, Aaron Ray. So he joins us from Sabadell, who were playing in the lower leagues of Spain. He played 35 games last season, 4 goals, 8 assists, 2 player of match performances, 6.87 rating. Realistically coming into play in my centre of midfield. Mentally he's better than he is technically. However, dribbling, first touch, passing and technique, 14 and 15. Good vision as well at 16. Acceleration and pace both 12. So he's got a little bit about him. I'd expect to see some decent things from this season. And then Reece Devine, a player that technically doesn't look that good, but I had him in my save in FM21, and he was quality, he really was. He's currently valued at 600k to 2.2 million. Current ability 2.5 star, potential ability 4.5 star, and we got him on a free transfer from Manchester United. Now, he was playing in the Scottish Premier League last season, 36 appearances, 3 assists, and for me, if I'm playing him as a left back, you know, he's going to overlap with 15 crossing, 12 dribbling, 13 acceleration, 13 pace as well. Very good addition to the squad. Then Oliver Burke. Now this guy was going to be the next big thing. Scottish international, 13 caps, 1 goal, 25-year-old. And he's just like completely fallen off the radar. Acceleration and pace, both really high. Brought him in for 38k from Sheffield United, who spent £4 million on him. He played 2 times in the Championship last season, a 6.6 rating. And again, it's an absolute bargain. He's valued as 140k to 375k. His current ability is 4-star. I'm happy with him. Yes, technically, he's absolutely awful. But there are players out there that are like that and they just set the world alight. So here is realistically an attacking midfielder on the right. We're going to play him as either a right midfielder or we'll play him off the shoulder as an attacking forward up top. Then we brought in Jan Valery, so this was one of the bigger transfers of the transfer window. We brought him in from Southampton for 800k. He was on loan at Millwall last season, 14 appearances, 1 goal, 2 assists, 1 player of match performance, and a 7.15 rating. I'm happy to bring this guy in, and like I say, I spent a bit of money on him, but he's definitely going to strengthen our right back options. 23-year-old, got 2 caps for Tunisia already, and his current ability is 3.5 stars, potential ability is 4-star, currently valued at 2.6 million to 3.7. All in all, a great deal. Then I was really worried about the back, and this guy's stats for the Championship, incredible. So Alejandro Sotilos, 24-year-old Spaniard, joins us from Fuenlabrada. Absolutely butchered that pronunciation, but yeah, they were playing in the Spanish 2nd Division, 22 games last season, a 6.74 rating. Originally started out at Real Madrid before going out on loan, but I'm very happy to bring this guy in. For me, he can play out on that right-hand side. He's probably not going to. Like I said, we brought Jan Valery in for that role. But playing as a centre-back, still solid. Still a really good player. Heading, mark and tackling all high. Strength worries me with an 8 strength there. But we can work on that. I'll get some individual training now for him. But yeah, Sotilos, quality centre-back. And his centre-back partner is a fellow Spaniard, 24-year-old Taki. Now currently valued up to 600k, potential ability 4-star, strength much higher for this guy as well, but history-wise he paid 300k from Alaves, where he only played 1 time last season in the La Liga. A couple of seasons before that he got 12 appearances, 300k I'm happy with. He started out at Atletico Madrid, and I think he's another very good addition to the squad. And then finally, I'm resting all of my hopes on Troy Parrott. We've got him on loan from Tottenham, and I'm hoping this guy's going to propel us to the Premier League. Now, he's currently valued, obviously, up to £22 million. Potential ability 5-star. Finishing composure could be higher, but he's only 20-year-old, and he's not the finished article. Now, he was on loan at MK Dons in League 1 last season, so the league below us, where he played 44 times, 15 goals, and I'm happy to bring him in. We spent 235k getting him through the door, but for me, this guy, I'm really resting my hopes on him getting 20 plus goals and really pushing us toward those playoff spots. Finances wise then, we've got 2.6 million in the overall balance left. 75% of our transfer revenue is now being made available to us. We've got 284k in the wage budget, we're spending 278, and our overall balance is 25 million. Debt and loans wise now, we've got 14.75 million to pay off. That's with the chairperson loan and the company voluntary agreement, but our net debt is now 0. So I think it's fair to say that the worst is now behind us. Squad dynamics then, Luis Silva is the only man who is unhappy with as he wants a new contract. Definitely going to do that because he's a real talent, potential superstar in the squad. And then top influencers wise, both my team leaders, Lawrence and Forsyth, down supporters. However, nobody opposes us. I've got 14 players as supporters, 13 players that have no real opinion. And looking at it tactically then, so this is probably going to be my best 11, my starting 11 anyway, with Woodman, Devine, Sotilos, Taki and Valery at the back, with Balick in the middle, Sibley, Bird and Joswiak out wide, and then Lawrence and Parrott up front. Plenty of quality there. Really good bench as well with Baldock, Forsyth, Burke, Knight, Byrne, Vekic, Williams as well. And even more depth that haven't made it onto the bench at the minute. We've got some quality youngsters in there as well. Erin Cashin is still a player that I want to push, 20-year-old Irishman. And so on and so on. So we've got decent squad depth now. I haven't financially crippled us and we've got plenty of money left. So finally then, looking at the season preview, we're expected a 17th place finish, 50-1 to win the league. Millwall actually favourites at 4-6 to get promoted to the Premier League. That is massive. With Sunderland down bottom there, Sheffield Wednesday have been re-promoted, and Ipswich as well, 50-1. Unfortunately, I've got no players in the Media Dream 11, but with teams dropping out of the Premier League, I didn't expect to see any players in there anyway. It's going to be a right struggle, don't get me wrong. New managers coming in: Alex Neil at Birmingham, Frank Lampard's at Brighton, Paul Cook at Crystal Palace, and Wayne Rooney has gone to Ipswich. So there we go. So what we're going to do then is we're going to move forward to the end of Season 2, where hopefully my new additions will make all of the difference. Right then guys, so we're back at the end of Season 2, and what normally happens is we come back around about the 30th of May to see how we performed in the league. However, we're now back at the 4th of June, and as you can see up here, next match, Derby versus Fulham in the Sky Bet Championship Playoffs final. So what we're going to do is we're going to witness this either elation or capitulation. You know, there may be some disappointment at the end of this, as this game kicks off at Wembley today. So what we're going to do is we're going to go on holiday for one day, and this is it. I've done absolutely nothing with it. Obviously, they'll select my best team around the tactic that I've put in. This could be it. We could be playing in the Premier League next season. How did we get on competitions-wise? We were beaten in the final 1-0 by Fulham. There we go. So we didn't make it this season. We come close. So Tilos sent off in the 59th minute. Namley with a goal on 47, that done us. They battered us though, 19 shots, 6 on target, 43% possession they managed though. We had 4 and 2. So this season round then guys, we have not made it into the Premier League, but we've come close. We got into the playoffs, we got to the final and we lost it. Recent form for us though, looking at it, is shocking. So as you can see, we might as well look at this first thing now, as we got knocked out in the 4th round of the FA Cup by Crewe. That's a bit of an upset. We were knocked out in the 4th round of the Carabao Cup by Crystal Palace. Looking at the league table, and we finished in 4th place, 46 games, 23 wins, 11 draws, 12 losses, 89 goals scored, 63 conceded. That's far too many. Goal difference of plus 26, 80 points on the board. Fulham did finish in 3rd place, so technically the top 3 this season did go up. Brighton were by far superior, finishing 15 points clear, and Norwich in 2nd. So how did we perform throughout the season? Let's have a look. So, you know, we were mincing about in the 8th place. We ended up in 8th place again with a 4-3 defeat to Norwich City on match day 25. But, you know, to finish up in 4th place, we've done alright. 5 games to go in the season. We won 3-2 against Sunderland, and obviously that propelled us back into 4th place. We're all the way down in 7th at one point. I'm really disappointed with that. I'm assuming Brighton basically sat in top. We were up top. By match day 10, we were still top of the league. Then it all started to fall apart with a 2-0 defeat to Stoke City. Brighton got top and never looked back. So, damn, it's a shocker, an absolute shocker. Finances-wise then, how are we doing? We've got £11 million in the transfer budget, but we're now getting 100% of transfer revenue. The wage budget is 348k, we're spending 273. We've got an overall balance of 47 million. Now, there is another bit that we need to talk about in the transfer history. Is Louis Sibley, 25.5 million to Norwich. Obviously, I simulate the entire season, so what has happened here in January? They've come in with this offer, and it's been accepted by the board, obviously, because I have got to reject transfers. So when we have a look and we go, obviously, to the going on holiday, reject all offers. So the board have seen that the offer was just too good to refuse, and Louis Sibley has gone. It's made no real difference to the finances, like I say, £11 million, considering we've just got 25.5 million for him, but we weren't getting 100% the transfer. We are now. So yeah, that is where we are. Let's have a look at debt and loan. We should be about done. Still £14 million to pay off. What are we doing? Let's just get it paid off. I'd rather have no money next season and push with the squad that we have. So let's just have a look at the squad dynamics then. So team cohesion is very good. Club atmosphere is excellent. My geo support is good. Aaron Ray wants to leave. How did he get on this season? 1 start, 7 substitute appearances and 1 assist. How much is he worth? Is he worth selling on? 60k. We got him on a free transfer, so 60k. We might pull a bit of money back there. But look at the top influencers then. I've only got 7 players as supporters after the season we've had. 14 players have no real opinion and no players opposers. So what about player stats then? Ollie Burke with 22 goals this season. One thing I would say, guys, is when you look at a guy stats-wise, he's not very good. but you've got a decent scout and they're telling you to buy him, just get him. I had a guy called Charlie Brown, don't know if you ever heard of him. He was in the under 21s for Chelsea, and I used him in FM21, and he was scoring 35 goals a season in the Scottish Premier League. Now, yes, it's the Scottish Premier League. However, his stats and attributes were absolutely shocking, but I should have signed him at all costs according to my scout. So sometimes, don't necessarily believe the hype around the technicals, the mentals, the physicals, the attributes altogether. Just go with what your scout's saying. It is 50-50. You could end up with an absolute dud. However, there's an opportunity there, and I think Ollie Burke is one of those. So when we look at him in the league, 45 appearances, 21 goals, 5 assists, 2 player of the match performances. He also got 1 goal in the cup. But 22 goals from a guy that I didn't think could do too much for us. That's fantastic. Highest average rating was Jan Valery at a 7.28. Most assists was Tom Lawrence with 13. Best pass completion was Satilos with a 98%. Most player of the match awards was Nathan Byrne with 6. Most yellow cards was Afonso with 16. And most red cards was Afonso as well with 12. Doesn't really surprise us. Team stats wise then, we scored 90 goals, which is the 3rd best. We conceded 65, 10th best. Not ideal. We need to reduce that drastically. Yellow cards wise, 117, over 100 yellow cards again. That's the worst. And 4 red cards, which is the 3rd worst. So really, I'd be interested to see who's gone down this season. So Watford, Barnsley and West Brom have all gone down. All teams that we could beat next season. Barnsley, fair play to them for even getting into the Premier League. But there's no big teams dropping down that could have potentially hurt us. So yeah, West Brom, Watford, Barnsley, teams that I think we could do well against next season. I think like Brighton maybe in a step too far. Norwich, we should be there or thereabouts as well. With a good strengthen this season coming. Like I say, we've got £11 million to spend, and we will have some players going out that have now increased in value because of their time and our performance in the league. So yeah, a very busy transfer window for season 3 coming up, where the plan is this season to get promoted. So season 3 is upon us then, guys, and I just want to go to the finances first to say that we've still got £11 million in the transfer budget. Overall balance is now up to £52 million. Wage budget, we could be potentially spending over the wage budget. I have got a deal for Troy Parrott to bring him back on loan this season. That hasn't been confirmed yet. However, we're currently spending $334k on wages. So we're 14k under the wage budget as it stands. Like I said, we could end up spending over that. However, we're not at the minute. So transfers wise then, quite a few players have left us. We've done a bit of money ball this season as some of the players that we brought in last season have now left us. So João Afonso has gone off to Mallorca now. We got him on a free transfer last season, played 37 games for us, 2 assists, a 6.88 rating, playing in an anchorman role. But we've let him go to Mallorca for 1.8 million. Decent player all round, 28-year-old now in his prime. To get that kind of money for someone we got for nothing, especially when we're in the Championship, had to let him move on. Aaron Ray, a player that wasn't happy with us, and attributes-wise looks quite decent now. Fuenlabrada, I think that's how you pronounce it, coming for him, 120k per week, free transfer again, played 6 times last season, no-brainer. Then Festi Ebosele, a player that's come through our youth system, I believe, didn't play too many times, actually hasn't played while I've been in charge, has been out on loan for 2 seasons. Played out on loan at Rotherham last season, 28 games he played, a 1.5 million offer from Millwall. And he's not that good, so I let him go. And then finally, another player that I brought in last season, Rodrigo Fernandez, has gone off to Wigan. So we brought him in on a free transfer. Played 1 time for us before going off on loan to Wimbledon, where he played 2 times in League 1. But 160k offer with add-ons up to 200k. He's gone to Wigan. So coming in then, the first player that we've brought in is Ethan Galbraith. We brought him in from Manchester United on a free transfer. Was out on loan a couple of seasons ago at Doncaster in League 1. Played 40 times. Decent player. Squad option. Not a regular starter. I have brought in a couple of players who are slightly better than him. But like I say, squad option and currently valued 3.4 million. Now a player that I've brought in on free transfer and taking a little bit of a risk on, a little bit of an unknown. Not heard anything about this guy before. Facundo Calidio. Currently valued 4.8 million. 23-year-old Argentinian. Fairly professional striker. Preferred foot is the right foot. We brought him in from Inter Milan on a free transfer, like I say. He played 9 games in the Serie A a couple of seasons ago. Didn't score a goal though. And he's played 52 times professionally, only scored 3 goals, that is the concern. But as a free transfer, he come highly recommended. Finishing 14, composure 14, acceleration and pace both 14 as well. So he has got something about him, but it'll be interesting to see how he gets on this season. Then we spent 600k on Jacob Sorensen, 25-year-old Dane, who we brought him from Norwich. He was out on loan last season in the Championship to Sheffield United, where he didn't play a game. Again, That is my one concern, but he comes highly recommended. Realistically going to be brought in to play that anchorman role. With head and mark and tackling all decent. Obviously we want decent passing as well at 14. Teamwork, vision, work rate. Needs to be a real workhorse. Natural fitness would be my one concern. However, I'm happy to bring him in for 600k transfer listed. Then I brought in Stephen Colker, now a player that has been about, he's well travelled, bit of a journeyman. We brought him in for 1.1 million after he went to Real Betis on a free transfer. Now we only played 4 times last season in the La Liga, 6.88 rating. He has been everywhere. For me, he adds a bit of experience to the squad. Obviously going to go in as centre-back, head and mark and tackling whole eye, strength eye as well. And they're the key attributes that I'm after. At 31-year-old, to spend over £1 million on him might seem a little bit crazy. But I just wanted that experience at the back. And then strengthening up my midfield, I brought in Matthias Jensen from Brentford. I think, yeah, Brentford 900k after they spent £3.5 million on him. Now, he's come from the Premier League, where he played 11 times last season. Didn't exactly set the world alight at 6.49. But it has had 45 and 39 games, both in the Championship for Brentford as well. So I'm expecting big things from this guy this season. So overall then, we've brought in a total of 3.6 million and we've spent a total of 2.6 million. So £1 million profit overall. I'm happy with that. Dynamics wise, and I've got one player that's unhappy. Balick. Now Balick, this guy, since I've had him, let's have a look at his medical reports. Look at the amount of cruciate ligament damages he's had there. Since I've had him, he's not really played for us. Has he actually played again for us? He played 14 times last season and 15 the season before, and he's had 2 cruciate injuries in 2 seasons. So I tried to move him on. Nobody interested, obviously, because of his history. But yeah, he's not happy, and I've almost had a massive fallout because of it. I've got 3 players that agree with Balick about me moving him on. You know, they're unhappy as well, but it is what it is. I've got no players that oppose us, though. 14 players that support us, 9 players that have no real opinion. And then looking at the season preview, I expected a 14th place finish this time round, 33-1 to win the league. I don't know what's going on at Millwall, but Millwall expected to win the league again. When we have a look at last season, they had an absolute shocker. Millwall finished in 19th place, and they're favourites again to win the league. Who's manager at Millwall? There must be something. Laurent Blanc is the manager at Millwall. Alright, big stuff going on there. I'm not quite sure what's going on, but I've only spent 1.5 million on bringing players in now. What about the season before? 1.7 million a season before that, 300k. So they haven't really done anything. For them being favourites to win the league, you would expect something massive to be happening there. So looking at the Media Dream 11, and we've actually got a player in there. Freddie Woodman is the highlighted star and the Media Dream 11 goalkeeper. I will take that. Very good goalkeeper. We brought him in, obviously, when Kelly Roos left, and I said he was going to probably be my undisputed number 1 until at least we got the Championship, and he's got into the Media Dream 11. So I'm happy to finally have a player in there. And then looking at the expectations for this season then, the board expect a top half finish in the Championship, to reach the 4th round of the FA Cup, and to reach the 3rd round of the Carabao Cup. So that is it then, guys. Quite happy with my additions to the squad, but this season we've got to be getting into the Premier League. Right then, guys, so after the drama of last season, we have got ourselves into the Premier League. We have won the Championship, 86 points on the board, exactly the same as Stoke. And Forest on 85 points. That's how close it was. Forest missing out on automatic promotion by a point. Now, obviously, we didn't have the dominant team that we had last season when Brighton absolutely steamrolled the league. 105 points, I think it was, that they went up with. But yeah, we have finished top, and that is massive. 3 seasons in, we're now in the Premier League. Barnsley against Cardiff in the playoff final. So that is yet to be decided. But looking at us here, 46 games played, 25 won, 11 draws, 10 losses. The exact same record as Stoke. 89 goals scored, 53 goals conceded, goal difference of plus 36, and that is what's done it for us. 86 points. And we lost our last game of the season. Who did we lose to? We lost 2-1 to QPR. We could have absolutely bottled that. If Forest had won, you never know. You know, Forest and Stoke, if they'd have won their final game, because it looks like Stoke drew theirs. Who did they draw against? Portsmouth 0-0. And how did Forest get on? Drew 1-1 with Sheffield, because obviously those Barnsley games are what's happening now in the playoffs. So there you go. Where did Millwall finish? Millwall finished down in 19th place. I'm assuming Blanc's been sacked. Yeah, he has. He's gone. Millwall, obviously, favourites to win the league. And then let's have a look at, obviously, our performance with the past positions. Were we top majority of the league? No. We had a shocking start to the season. We won 3-0 against Luton Town. We must have got smashed. Then we lost 3-0 to Forest. That's a big defeat against our rivals there. But we end up winning the league, and we'll take that. What about Stoke then? Yeah, they had a similar path to ourselves. In fairness, they had a bigger climb. And then Forest just come out of nowhere. So Forest won 3-1 against Huddersfield to knock themselves up into third place. Ended up going top of the league with a 2-1 victory over Oxford United. So yeah, lots of movement in the league this season. Looking at our performance in the competitions wise then, so obviously we won the league. In the FA Cup we were knocked out in the 5th round by Manchester United. In the Carabao Cup we were knocked out by Forest. So Forest doing us in the Carabao Cup as well. Finances wise then, how are things looking? So we've got £37 million to play with now that we're going up into the Premier League. We've got 633k wage budget and we're currently spending 341k. However, there will be some massive pay rises obviously when teams get promoted. Players get like 35% raises, so there's going to be a lot happening there, I'm sure about that. £43 million in the overall balance, and we've still got to be careful with those finances. Looking at the squad dynamics wise then, team cohesion excellent, club atmosphere very good, and managerial support's very good. I've got players that are unhappy, obviously that's going to be more contractually than anything else. Josh Knight wants to leave to start more games. There will be a lot of turnover. This team is not a Premier League team. I'm going to keep a few of my players, you know, Woodman there, Lawrence, Bird, all doing the business. Let's not count anybody out actually, but there's going to be some players leave naturally. How did Burke get on this season? Just having a look at it there. 21 goals in all competitions, 18 in the Championship, but I'm sure we'll see a little bit more of that shortly. But let's have a look. 16 player supporters, 7 player have no real opinion of us, and nobody opposes us. So looking at this player performance then, Tom Lawrence was the top goal scorer with 23 goals. Highest average rating was my goalkeeper Freddie Woodman with a 7.2. Most assists was Lawrence with 16, so top goal scorer and top assister as well. Best pass completion was Colk with 98%. Most player of the match awards goes to Tom Lawrence with 6. Most yellow cards, Sorensen with 17. And most red cards was Bird, Williams and Sorensen with 1 apiece. So team stats wise then, we scored 89 goals, which is the second best. We conceded 53, which is still a lot, but that's only the third best. Yellow cards wise, 111, which was the second worst, and 3 red cards, which was the 7th worst. So let's have a look at goal scorers then. So Tom Lawrence with 23, Burke with 21. Calidio, the player that I didn't know too much about, has scored 12 goals this season, 10 assists for the guy as well. Free transfer, like I say, we didn't know too much about him. He's basically quadrupled the amount of goals that he scored professionally in one season. And then looking at him, he's currently valued at 14.5 to £16 million. Obviously, the value of our players will now be inflated because we're going to be a Premier League side. But that means we should be able to bring some big funds in. So what we're going to do is we're going to move forward into Season 4, our first season in the Premier League. And we've got to build a team to survive. Right then guys, what a rebuild this has been. We're finally in the Premier League, obviously after missing out a couple of seasons ago in the playoffs, and we get there. We've had a massive transfer window and we've spent some big money. We need to look at the finances first though, to really appreciate how much business we've done. So we've got £3,497 left in the transfer budget. Wage budget wise, we're spending just over 698k. We're currently spending just over 699,000. Overall balance is 21 million. We have made a loss so far this season of 3.9 million. Debts and loans, it's on its way down, 12.75 now. Transfer debt 2.5 million. But overall, as far as the business goes, I don't think we've been mugged off at all. I think we've got some really good deals there, and we've made some decent money on players that we've acquired throughout the season so far. So the first player to leave then was Christian Balick. Now, this guy tried to get rid of last year. His injuries for us have been absolutely awful. He only played 2 times last season. That's because he was always out with a cruciate injury. But he's gone to Leeds on a free transfer. After we spent 9.25 million on him, not ideal, like I say. Ethan Galbraith was a player that we brought in last season on a free transfer. He played 9 times for us, and Blackburn wanted him for 5.75 million. Like I say, didn't really do anything. Not a bad player, but as we've got promoted, he's dropped back down into the Championship. Taki, a Spaniard that we brought in a couple of seasons ago to basically strengthen up my defence, has gone off to Granada. Now, he went off for 7.5 million after we spent 350k on him. He was more or less ever present. 41 games the first season started. Last season, 38 games. Both seasons he delivered over a 7 rating for us. He's never let me down. 26-year-old. We've brought in a better centre-back, so it was time to let him on, and it was good money for him as well. Stephen Colker, another player that we brought in last season just to strengthen up at the back. Done what he was asked to do in getting us promoted. Played 37 times for us last season. 4 goals, 2 player of match performance, a 7.13 rating. 1.1 million we spent on him, and he's gone off to Basel in Switzerland for 1.2 million. Coming in then, first of all, is Dan Axel Zagadou. Now, he joined us from Aston Villa for 2.1 million after they put him up on a free transfer. Now, he was a Borussia Dortmund, and this guy comes highly rated. He played 1 time in the Premier League last season. Now, he has got some Premier League experience, playing 11 times the season before. But a 25-year-old can play centre-back, can play at left-back. He's going to predominantly play in the centre of the defence. His potential ability is 4.5 star. His current ability is 3.5 star. And he's a good player. Composure 18, jump and reach, strength all 18. Heading, mark and tackling could be slightly higher, but it's 6'5". I'm not worried about that. Unai Bilbao was the next person through the door. Now, we spent a little bit of money on him, 1.2 million on a player that played for San Luis in the Mexican First Division. 32 games last season for them, 2 goals, 6 assists, a 7.15 rating. He's been ever present. He's played plenty of games, 320 games in his career. Heading, mark and tackling all good. Yes, his acceleration is 9. Don't ask him to take a corner, cross or dribble with the ball. If he ends up one-on-one with the goalkeeper, the last thing you want is him there. So Unai Bilbao brought in for little money, currently valued 5.6 million. Squad player, just adds a bit of depth. David Brooks was another player in. Now, this guy is fairly similar to Oliver Burke. And the 27-year-old, 40 caps, 5 goals. We spent 12.25 million from Bournemouth, who played in the Premier League last season, 24 starts, 2 goals, 1 assist, a 6.78 rating. He played 27 games in the Premier League the season before, and he's currently valued 15 to 18 million. Now, he's going to play out on that right-hand side where Burke is as well, so we've got a bit of rotation there. Another player in was Zé Carlos. Now, he's a 26-year-old Portuguese, not international at the minute. Well, hopefully, we'll try and push him there. Currently valued 4.7 million. Attributes-wise, he's just there as a depth option. That is all. Current ability 3-star, potential ability 3-star. We bought him in for 190k. He was at Sampdoria last season, where he played 2 times in the Serie A. The season before, he was at Crotone on loan, where he played 38 games in Serie B. So, for me, he's just there as a depth option to play predominantly out on that right-back side. Now, this guy, Luca Lorenzo, potential wonder kid. Obviously, he's now 23-year-old. Italian, not capped, but currently valued 36 to 44 million pounds. 6'7" he is. What an absolute tower and presence he's going to be. But he's going to play up front. As a deep line forward, we'll be picking him out. I don't want to play a target man. That's not my style of play. But yeah, finishing 16, composure 14, jump and reach 18, strength 16, heading, determination all high as well. And we brought him in for 18 million pounds. He was at Atalanta for the last couple of seasons. Didn't actually play a game last season, which is worrying. Hopefully, though, he does the business for us. And his strike partner coming in is Alfredo Morelos. Now, this is a player that you may have heard of. Was doing big stuff at Rangers. Absolutely loves a red card, though. That would be my one concern. We bought him in for 13.25 million from Fulham. He played in the Premier League last season where he got 10 goals in 33 appearances. And I'll take that. Goals are going to be valuable this season. They really are. Technically, he's not the best. Mentally, physically, he's good, though. He is strong enough on the short side at 5'10". But Luca will balance him out anyway. So yes, transfer-wise, then when we just look it all together, there's a couple of players that we brought in not worth speaking about. Max Sprang, recommended, absolutely terrible. He's gone back out on loan. But we sold players for a total of 15.25 million, but we spent 47 million pound. You know, 4 seasons in now, and we're starting to spend some serious money. You can see season after season we've been generating cash, and now we've gone out and spent it after 4 seasons. So looking at the tactic then, we're still going to persevere with the Anchorman, the 4-1-3-2. It's done us proud, it's got us this far. And this is the first rebuild that I haven't changed the tactic every season. I'm quite happy with how this is going. So team selection-wise, we're probably going to go with Woodman in goal, Sorensen, Zagadou, Satilos and Valerie at the back, with Bird in the holding role, Lawrence, Jensen and Jozuiak out wide, and then Morelos and Luca. Jozuiak could potentially be the other change where we go for Burke. But yeah, I'm very, very happy with that. We've also obviously got David Brooks as well. Some real good options in all those areas. Squad dynamics wise then, team cohesion is good, club atmosphere is average, and my geo support is very good. I've got a couple of players that aren't too happy with the contracts, but we're in the process of sorting that out. Top influencers wise, 16 player supporters, 7 players have no real opinion of us. And then looking at how we're going to perform in the Premier League, or the expectation from the season preview, is we're expected to finish in 19th place, 800 to 1. Barnsley favourites to go down, and Stoke with them. So the 3 that have been promoted are the 3 that I expect to go down. And naturally, we haven't got any players in the Media Dream 11. So there we go then, guys. Let's get into Season 4, where we try to survive in the Premier League. So the season's over then, guys. And as you can see, we weren't the greatest team in the league. We had a 14th place finish. I'll take that, considering we finished 5 points clear of Leeds. Leeds got relegated. Leeds in 18th, Burnley in 19th, and Barnsley in 20th. Let's have a look at it. So here you can see it in all its glory. Manchester United win the league, 92 points to beat Arsenal by a point. Liverpool finished 10 points behind Arsenal, 11 points behind Manchester United. But Barnsley, Burnley and Leeds going down, which means ourselves and Stoke survived after being promoted. We played 38 games, won 10, drew 5, lost 23, scored 40 goals, conceded 75, we got absolutely battered. Minus 35 goal difference, 35 points on the board. We did finish 8 points behind Leicester. Leicester had a shocking end to the season as well. We won 2 out of our last 5. Obviously, that's helped us out in the grand scheme of things. And let's have a look at our past positions, see how we got on there. God, we diced with it. We were bottom of the league in games 22 and 23. A 3-1 defeat to Everton. And then a 5-0 defeat by Manchester United. We then beat Stoke City 4-0 to get ourselves up in the 17th. But we've climbed. We beat Brentford 3-0 on match day 35. And then won 1-0 against Brighton and Hove Albion to get up into 14th place, which isn't bad going. What about Leeds? What a fall from grace. They literally got relegated on the second to last game of the season. They lost 4-3 to Everton. Leeds going down. There may be an opportunity there for Leeds for us to rob some of their players. I'm not going to lie. There'll be a lot of transfer listed players coming out of that club because they won't want to be playing in the Championship. So there's an opportunity there. Looking at competitions-wise then, like I say, 14th place finish in the league. We're knocked out in the third round of the FA Cup by Swansea. And then knocked out in the Carabao Cup in the second round by Rotherham United. Hasn't been good, cup runs for us has been non-existent. What about finances and how we're looking? We've been given £51 million to spend next season. We've now got a £1 million wage budget, so they've basically increased our wage budget by 400k from the start of last season. We've got £83 million in the overall balance, and debt and loans don't really matter now, because we're basically going to be playing that club chairperson loan to the 9th of the 5th, 2047. So we don't need to worry about that anymore. Apparently that's the worst behind us. We've now got £51 million to spend in the transfer window. Everybody's happy, but what a dynamic's like considering the season that we just had. So team cohesion's very good, club atmosphere is average, but managerial support is excellent as well, and that's what you want. We've got plenty of players that want to leave. Tom Lawrence wants to go, so does Kalido, Bilbao, players that probably haven't featured throughout this season. Buchanan opposes us. I've got 1 player that opposes us, 19 players that support us, and 2 players that have no real opinion of us. So top goal scorer was Morales with 15. Luca got 11 goals, Brooks with 6, Burke with 4. Yeah, we didn't score too many when you look at it there. So let's have a look at the overall performance then. So top goal scorer was Morales with 15. Highest average rating was Freddie Woodman with his 7.11. Most assists was Burke with 8. Best pass completion was Zagadou with 98%. Most player of the match awards was Zagadou with 4. Most yellow cards was Bird with 16. And most red cards was Bird, Burke and Morelos. Morelos only getting 1 red card this season. That's a miracle in itself. Team stats wise then, 40 goals scored, which is the 4th worst. Goals conceded 75, 6th worst. Yellow cards 101, which is the worst. And red cards 3, which was the 4th worst. We had the 9th worst attendance with just under 33,000 as well. So there we go then, guys. So we've got 1 more season to go and we've got £50 million to spend. So I'm going to go for it. Why not? There's nothing to go for. We're not going to win the league next season. That's not going to happen. Maybe give a good account of ourselves in a cup competition, as we haven't really done that yet. And maybe aim for Europe. Now that's maybe punching a little bit there. Just quickly having a look at the club vision. Next season is to fight bravely against relegation again, and we've just got to continue remaining in the Premier League. So yeah, let's go for it. Let's give it a push next season, so you'll join me for the start of Season 5. Well, hopefully I've brought in some players that are going to take us to the next level. So last season then, guys, Season 5, and like I say, this one's just really about consolidating the league. Yes, would I like to push on in the Cup, 100%. I'd like to get some kind of silverware. I think that's a stretch too far going into the last season. I think it's more about a respectable league position. So looking at the finances, we have spent money again. We've got £19 million in the overall transfer budget, £64 million in the overall balance, and our wage budget's £1 million, but we're currently spending $859k. So I'm happy with how we are. Transfer-wise then, Tom Lawrence was the first player to leave. He has gone to Ulsan in South Korea for £2.7 million. Played 6 games for them already and scored 5 goals. Now this guy has been a bit of a legend for us, He dragged me through a couple of seasons. He scored 17 in his first season, 14 in the season after, and then 16 the season after that. It was only when he got to the Premier League that he really became surplus to requirements. So yes, we let him go. Tom Lawrence, great player for us, but he's gone off to South Korea. Well, like I say, he's scoring goals already. So Jozwiak then has gone off to Barnsley, so 5.5 million. He played 23 times for his last season, 1 goal, 1 assist, a 6.62 rating. But yeah, I think it was time to move him on. His attributes aren't great, and that kind of money, D should only sign him as a last resort. That if he'd come back to us. Like I say, 5.5 million. So Colly Dio then, a player that we brought in from Inter Milan. He scored 12 goals for us in his first season in the Championship. Only played 5 games last season though. So we sold him on to Barnsley for 9.5 million. But he's played 1 game and scored 1 goal. Come in, I was expecting a little bit more from him. Didn't get anything in the Premier League, so he cashed in. And Unai Bilbao, a player that I brought in last season just to strengthen up the defence. We brought him for 1.2 million. And we sold him to Bristol City in the Championship for 1.9 million. So naturally we had to spend money. So Alexander Borkovic, what a name that is. He joined us from Werder Bremen for 9.5 million. Played 13 times in the Bundesliga last season. 1 goal, 1 assist, 1 player of the match performance. Standard player, I know I've spent like £9.5 million on him. He's currently valued up to 22 million. 26-year-old Austrian. I'd expect to see some caps from him this season, hopefully. Heading, mark and tackling, all average. Strength 13, 6 foot tall. Pace and acceleration decent at 14 apiece. So he's going to be one of my centre-back options. Another one of my centre-back options is Keiki. Now, this guy was a wonder kid, now 21-year-old, currently valued at £42 million. Heading, mark and tackling, not the highest, but all going to improve. So transfers-wise, then he went to Leeds last season for £13.25 million. The only thing for me is Leeds got relegated last season and he was one of their centre-back options. Only played 10 games for them now, but we spent £16.75 million on him when he got transfer listed. Then we brought in Aaron Okapu, just another squad depth option to go out on that left-hand side. Predominantly going to play as a midfielder left. Don't want to push him too high. He's average at best, and he cost me 350k. There's not too much to say on this guy. We're probably not going to see anything from him at the end of the season. I then wanted to strengthen in the midfield, so I brought in Fausto Vera, 25-year-old Argentinian, 6.25 million from Argentinos in Argentina. 22 games for them last season, 3 goals, 5 assists. 6.25 million, I'm happy with that. He's currently valued at 21 million. Can play in that defensive anchor role, also in the midfield. You'll see when we look at the tactics that I've changed it up a little bit. But he's a decent all-round player. He really is. And he didn't cost us the earth. Filippo Meligoni I've brought in as another central midfield option, just to add a bit of squad depth. Looks decent there, another all-rounded player, and we got him on a free transfer from Genoa. Now, they were obviously relegated from the Serie A to the Serie B. He played 16 times for them last season. And again, another squad option. Determination 16, that's his highest attribute. But all round, you know, he's a decent player. First touch 14, passing 14, technique 15, decision making 12 and composure a little bit lower. But anticipation 13, he'll do a job for us. Then we brought in Borna Souza to play out as the left back. Now, we have got options out there, but again, it's another all-round player that was at Leeds United. Leeds United, again, obviously, like I say, getting relegated. They bought him for 2.6 million, played 16 games last season, and I've brought him in for 6.75 million. We're paying him a lot of money, though, 74k a week to be with us. 27-year-old, 15 caps for Croatia. Can play higher should we need to. His crossing and dribbling are also fairly decent. Pace 16, acceleration 14. So if I was really struggling, I could play him in the left midfield, but predominantly going to be playing as a left full-back. Then we've brought in Luka Zidane, so the son of Zidane, 27-year-old Algerian, 22 caps to play in goal. Second choice, that's all he is, 250k, won't play too many games. And I've not really got too much to say about him. He's not a bad goalkeeper, he's all-rounded. He's, like I say, 22 caps for Algeria. Just literally there to sit and keep the bench warm. And then finally we brought in Alexandra Mitrovic. There you go. £7 million from Burnley, who were in the Premier League last season. He only scored 5 goals in 26 games, but he's a proven goal scorer, is Mitrovic. And when I'm playing the two up top, he can do the business. Obviously, mentally and physically he's good. Technically he's decent as well. With first touch 14, finishing 15, heading 15. Penalty taken, absolutely loves a penalty. But yeah, Mitrovic as well. And then when we look at the tactics, really, this is the way I'm going to play. So I've got Woodman in goal, Souza, Zagadou, Keiki and Valerie at the back with Burke, Bird, Vera and Brooks. And then Luka and Mitrovic in front. Obviously, I have got Morelos. We've got plenty of options now. Sorensen in there as well, who could potentially play out on that left-hand side. But I'm going to play a 4-4-2. That one person in the midfield, even though I had a person behind, wasn't great. So I just want to shore it up now. We're just going to go for a classic 4-4-2. Mitrovic playing as a target forward, and then Luka playing as a complete forward. Still a tick-attacker style on a cautious mentality. Competitions-wise, FA Cup, Carabao Cup, Premier League, nothing changes there. Dynamics, obviously we've had some changes, so team cohesion is good, club atmosphere is very good, managerial support's very good. Dylan Williams wants to leave, he's not going anywhere, he's an integral part of my team. Team leaders wise, Bird, Woodman and Burke, 2 of them supporters, Woodman doesn't, but I've got no players that oppose us, 16 players that supporters. And then looking at the season preview, I think we were expected to finish 18th last season, 800-1. It's exactly the same this season round. Sunderland, Sheffield United and Bournemouth all promoted. Bournemouth expected a 15th place finish. And we have got no players in the Media Dream 11. Doesn't surprise us. So there we go then, guys. Season 5, our final opportunity. It's just all about consolidation and doing ourselves proud in a cup competition. Right then, guys, so that is it. We're at the end of the rebuild, the end of Season 5. And we've ended on a high, I would say. When you look at the league table, a 10th place finish, 38 games played, 16 won, 6 draws, 6 defeats, 74 goals scored, 84 conceded. Minus 10 goal difference though. Minus 10 goal difference is not ideal. 54 points on the board though. It looks like our form was decent at the end there. You can see 4 wins out of 5. Not bad going. We points drop with a 2-2 draw against Southampton. We're looking good overall. We actually beat Manchester United 4-1 in the mix there as well. Quality stuff. Real quality stuff. So I'll take a 10th place finish with Newcastle, Sheffield United and Sunderland going down. Newcastle, we've got to have a look at this. Transfer history. They spent 185 million this season and got relegated. What did they spend the season before? 117 million. 252 million. Looking at our past positions, then we've done quite well since match day 22. We were sat in 11th place, a 2-1 victory over West Ham United, and then we beat Tottenham Hotspur 3-2 to go up into 10th place. So a top half finish from where we were when we took over. Very happy with that. When we look at the finances of the club, we would have £44 million to spend in this upcoming transfer window. We've still got £1 million in the wage budget, and we're 70k under that. We've got £89 million in the overall balance. What about competitions though? In the FA Cup, we were knocked out in a semi-final by Manchester United. And it was a 4-4 draw and we were knocked out on penalties. We actually went 4-1 down before scoring 3 goals. Brooks with a goal in the 94th minute before Apoku and Satilos missed penalties. That's how close we were. 17 shots, 9 on target, 4 goals. We were absolutely pummeled. 38 shots, 11 on target. But we got out on penalties. Chelsea going through to the final with an extra time victory over Arsenal as well. Squad dynamics wise and how am I leaving the team? Naturally we have plenty of players that want to leave because they want more game time or they want improved contracts. That's the next manager's problem. But team cohesion is good, club atmosphere is average and managerial support is very good. Anybody opposes? No. 21 players support us, 2 players have no real opinion. So we've left that in a decent place. Looking at the player stats and the team stats wise, and so we'll start at the player stats with Luca got 41 goals this season, 25 in the league. He scored 16 in 6 league appearances. Jeez, that's some good going. So 25 goals this season. And when we look at him, what is he valued at now? Up to £45 million. He's an incredible player. Towering striker is his media description. And he's fully capped now by Italy as well. He also had the highest average rating at 7.6. Sousa had the highest assists with 14. Best pass completion was Keiko with 97%. Most player of the match awards was Luca with 12. Most yellow cards was Jan Valery with 12. Most red cards, Luca and Morelos, both from centre forwards with 1 apiece. Team stats wise then, so we scored 74 goals, which is the 6th best, but 84 goals conceded was the 3rd worst in the league. So it goes to show where our problems are. Yellow card wise, we got 80, which was the 3rd worst. I think that's the first time we haven't been the worst team in the league. And 2 red cards, which was the 4th worst. So looking at the milestones then, not a lot to talk about in this one as I was hired in 2021 and we got promoted to the Premier League in 2024. No other cups, no other silverware, but the thing was to get him into the Premier League and get him consolidated. And I think we've done that. If we were to carry this rebuild on for another 5 years, I reckon it's likely that we would win the league. We definitely have Champions League footballers. We are pushing. And then finally looking at the overview, total time spent on holiday, 96%. No games played. Naturally, we don't do that here. We spent £102 million on buying players. We got £69 million back in. We sold 40 players. It's not very often that we have a turnover like that. We normally bring lots of players in and don't move too many on, but we've definitely done it there. Highest transfer received was for Louis Sibley. Obviously, that was taken out of my hands, £25.5 million when he went to Norwich. And the highest transfer fee spent was £18 million for Lorenzo Luca, who's obviously done us proud this time round. Lastly then, looking at the squad and looking at the rest of the goals, so Morelos got 12 goals, Mitrovic with 8. So you can see there's such a gulf in goals between Luca and Morelos. Massive stuff. So there you go then, guys. Let's move back to this screen. And so the Derby County rebuild is over. Now, like I say, probably if we carried on for another 5 years, we'd be winning the league. We'd definitely have Champions League football anyway. So yes, that is it then. So if you are new to the channel, thank you very much for watching. Like I say, please like and subscribe. It would mean a lot. And if you're a regular subscriber, thank you very much for watching. So that is it then. Thank you very much, guys. Take care, and I'll see you later. Ta-ra.